Hello again. I'm Steve Spodiak, your candidate for Park County Sheriff. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Sheriffing in Colorado, where today I'd like to talk to you about Undersheriff and the role of Undersheriff. So, if you think of a sheriff's office like a business, the sheriff is basically the CEO, the chief executive officer. And that makes the Undersheriff more like the COO, or the chief operations officer. Now, large sheriff's offices and small sheriff's offices are going to operate very differently on many levels, and that's true for the role of undersheriff as well. Now, undersheriffs are specifically provided for in state statute. In fact, Title 30, Article 10, Parts 504 and 505 refer to the undersheriff. 504 is titled Undersheriff, and it reads, "The sheriff of each county, as soon as may be after entering upon the duties of his office, shall appoint some proper person undersheriff of said county, who shall also be a general deputy to serve during the pleasure of the sheriff. As often as a vacancy occurs in the office of such undersheriff, or he becomes incapable of executing the same, another shall in like manner be appointed in his place." What does that mean? Well, if we break it down a little bit, what that means is that once a sheriff takes office, they're required by law to appoint an undersheriff, and that undersheriff has to be a properly qualified person, meaning that they are post-certified and they have the experience to fill the role of undersheriff and be a legal peace officer within the state of Colorado. This also allows for an undersheriff to be a general deputy sheriff and have the same roles and responsibilities, if needed, as a deputy sheriff under the sheriff. And it tells us that if an undersheriff is fired, dies in office, resigns, or leaves the office for any other reason, that the sheriff is required to appoint another sheriff to take his place. Now, Colorado Revised Statute Title 30, Article 10, 505 is titled Vacancy in Office Powers of Undersheriff. And this one reads, "When a vacancy occurs in the office of sheriff of any county, the undersheriff of such county shall in all things execute the office of sheriff until a sheriff is appointed or elected and qualified." So what this one means is that we have undersheriffs to act in the sheriff's place if the sheriff is either unavailable or for some reason leaves office again. Now, we think of sheriffs being elected in the state of Colorado, and most of the times that they are, but there are some instances where a sheriff can be appointed. For example, if a sheriff was to leave office more than halfway through their term, a sheriff could be appointed by the Board of County Commissioners. But in the absence of that sheriff, the undersheriff would fill the role of the sheriff until that time. Also, what could happen is a sheriff may be elected and not be qualified to be sheriff, meaning they legally have up to a year to obtain a post-certification. So the undersheriff would fill the role of sheriff until the sheriff was qualified, is what that means. Now, what does the undersheriff look like in Park County and the Park County Sheriff's Office? Well, I'm probably the most qualified person right now to answer that for you, as I've been in that role for the last 7.5 years. And for me, it has a lot to do with making sure that the day-to-day operations are running in all of our divisions. It also allows me and an agency of our size to step into roles that I can fill when they need to be filled. For example, when Sheriff McGraw first took office, I spent a lot of my time not only functioning as the undersheriff, but also filling the role of a school resource officer because we didn't have qualified people to fill those roles. Fortunately, with my background and experience, I was able to step in as a school resource officer, and I'm still able to do that today if the need arises. I can also step in and cover a patrol shift. I can help with court security. I can help with jail transports. I can assist animal control or investigations. I have experience in all of these roles, and that's just a little bit of what I do, in addition to writing policy and making sure that the sheriff's office is running. So again, thank you for joining me for Sheriffing in Colorado. I look forward to seeing you next time.